all know what happened in last 22nd of April in Indian Union Territory, Pahalgaon, where the 28 people were brutally killed by the militant from across the border only because of some difference in the faith. And there cannot be more heinous crime than this. And because of that, the entire country is in anger. And entire country in this mood for the revenge. And government, Indian government talking about, are also in the mood of retaliation of that act of the terror. Because terrorism is not at all supportable things in the modern world or the learned world for the development of the country. Because wherever terrorism is there, the country cannot develop. And our neighbor might be trying to put some contagious actions of their dwindled economy. Because of their own conditions, they are inflicting the terror in our country because they cannot fight face to face. And that's why they are adopting this kind of things. After that, it was the reaction of Indian government who stopped the Indus Water Treaty, which has taken place long before in 1960. And that treaty was also not quite balanced. Out of that treaty, it was decided that 80% of the water of the Indus and the tributaries to be used by Pakistan, whereas the meagerly 20% to be used by Indian territory. And now, despite this kind of the generosity from the Indian, maybe by the decision of your previous prime ministers, first prime minister, but even then, it was a sacrifice from our side. But there is no value of the sacrifice. They do not understand the language of the sacrifice. And repeatedly, the perpetrators of those countries are trying to bleed us. But here, in this time, the situation is different. The entire country was furious and united for the cause to punish the perpetrator of that heinous act. And that's why, after proper planning, Government of India has decided Operation SINDOOR. It's one kind of this surgical strike. One kind of the surgical strike that allow the Indian armed force to take actions in the terror camp and to neutralize many terrorists who are already identified in the planned manner from across the border or across the line of control. And Government of India had already done it on 6th of May. But as an aftermath of that incident, the retaliatory shelling is continued from Pakistan relentlessly. India clearly mentioned that India didn't target any military establishment and target was only pinpointed to take some actions on the military camps, in the terrorist camps. And India did with pinpointed accuracy to bomb the terrorist establishment across the borders or across the line of control. And at least around 100 terrorists were killed because of these actions. But as a retaliatory reactions from the Pakistans across the borders, they started again shelling relentlessly towards the innocent people across the line of control or across the border. But however, because of the supremacy of having the good superior technology in the weaponry, Indian military has managed to restrict all those barrage of the missiles and the drones or whatever fired from across the border from our neighboring country. Whereas India, when attacked with pinpointed accuracy to their air bases, it was a huge success for Indian team. And the motivation for the Indian people, Indian military personnel are quite high, such a high that nobody can diminish the moral of our Indian armed force. And not only armed force, navy and air force, all in this simultaneous way, they are taking actions for the perpetrator of this terror and to neutralize any kind of the harmful action from across the border or across the line of control. So let me disclose the operation Sindoor. What the significance of Sindoor? Let me have a permission from you to use the acronym of Sindoor itself. Sindoor, you know Sindoor? Sindoor is the vermilions, the holy vermilions, which is applied by the Indian Hindu lady as a symbol of being married, as a symbol of the agreement of staying each other's for the entire life. And according to Hindu mythology, not only entire life, we believe in the fact that once married, it can continue for the 7 generation after generation, 7 times. And that's why it's the ritual for the marriage to take the 7th turn in the holy establishment while we are certifying this marriage by the priest. Now, in my own way, let me tell you the significance of the Operation Sindoor. So first of all, as for the sacrifice, it is the sacrifice of our people, of 18 people who were killed in that particular day, 22nd of April. As for the sacrifice, it is the sacrifice of all the military personnel who are taking actions to neutralize all those terrorists and also Pakistani military for the retaliation purpose. Yes, there may be many harm from our side, but it's all the sacrifice. It's the sacrifice of the father who died and made unintentionally his child orphan. So all around the people of India are quite sympathetic, quite empathetic rather, in their sacrifice of the Operation Sindoor. Not only that, the main participant of the Operation Sindoor was the 2 strong women, Lieutenant General Sophia Qureshi and Bhumika Singh. Those 2 generals had planned in a meticulous way to attack all the pinpointed 9 sites of the terror base, and they did it very well. It's a well-mannered, completed operations. So as for the sacrifice, I for the inspiration. Yes, my dear friend, the Indian populations, Indian Navy, Army, and Air Force, all are inspired to take the revenge out of that. But definitely, in a manner of non-escalatory, only to harm the perpetrator of the terror, that means the terrorist camps Indian people have demolished. I for the inspiration. N. N for the noble and nice. Yes, the cause is noble. And the name itself signifies that how noble this operation was there in order to respect the vermilion put by the Indian Hindu ladies. Indian government has taken that actions to kill all those perpetrators from across the border. So N is the noble cause. D for the dedication of our army personnel is we cannot compare. It's a peerless. The how courageous, how in this mode of the valor, Indian personnel are quite active in taking actions in a very good accuracy with some dedications. O for objective. It has certain objective, not to penetrate much deeper and not to harm any civilian establishment, but only the pinpointed places of the terror base objective. And another O is optimistic. Indian army, Indian people are always optimistic about the good outcome out of the actions. Because of this optimist, we can stop the perpetrator from the other countries to to take into such kind of actions again. Next, R. R for the respect. Respect to the deceased persons who were killed, who passed away, and this dedications always respectable. And we respect to our army personnel who had also sacrificed, and with the meticulous plan they implemented the whole things for the success of this operation Sindoor. So there is no comparisons in this world out of these actions. So Sindoor, S for the sacrifice, I for the inspiration, N for noble cause, D for dedication, O for objective, and O for optimistic and observant also you can tell, and R for the respect. So let's be respectful to those all courageous army personnel or air force personnel or the navy personnel who has actively participated to save our country and to take the revenge and to bring back the honor for those hapless ladies who lost their husband, those orphaned child who lost their fathers. So this is our respect to army personnel, and we express with the full gratitude, and we have the full faith and expectation from our army personnel, that means military personnel, with the same courage and the valor. They can go anywhere in this world to find the perpetrators of this heinous act and to kill them and bring them for the justice. This is all about the operation Sindoor. Thank you.